Today we're going to be taking a look at a game called A Robot Named Fight for the Nintendo Switch. So this game really wasn't on my radar initially, as it did come out digital only a few years ago, but then it got on my radar when I saw Retro Fighters was publishing a physical edition. So there's a couple editions, the Retro Edition, the Premium Edition. This edition right here is the Premium one. The Retro one comes with quite a bit more, but this version comes with a nice little slip cover, just kind of like an NES cartridge. I thought that was kind of neat. Get the physical game, obviously, and the case for said game, and a little full, like, colored, double-sided cover. Little, artwork there. I thought that was pretty neat. Then we get this thing called a challenge card, which I think there might be a few different ones. It comes with, like, a challenge that you can do to get a badge. Thought that was kind of neat. And then also, something I really love, a full-color instruction manual. A little booklet here, a little foiling on there. Goes over some tips and tricks with the game, explaining how it's played, the different modes. There's a normal mode, like a death match, and a few other modes contained within it. Cooperative play, a lot of little sprite artwork there. I thought it was a pretty cool little booklet. Always love it when these things, come with the game, because it's fairly rare nowadays anyway. But there's a few things you might want to know about this game, as it is a Metroidvania. The second you boot this game up and start playing, it's obvious that it's heavily inspired by, like, Super Metroid. I mean, it plays very similar, has a similar style to it with the way the map is laid out, the way you progress, getting different abilities and items, and, having to shoot open doors with specific weapons to progress, and, all that kind of stuff. It's just pretty obvious from the get-go. It is a Metroidvania style game, but it's also a roguelike as well, and that's going to be the biggest thing that's either a turn on or a turn off for people, because there's a lot of people who love roguelike games, and then there's people who just hate them. I'm in the middle, because I've played some roguelikes like Dead Cells that I absolutely loved, but I don't like this genre in general. It's just got to work. It's got to work well. And here, I think it works decently well, but you have to understand the way it works, right? Progress in the game, if you die, you start over. The game is, like, randomly generated with the different paths and enemy placements, just the map in general, where the items are located, bosses, that kind of stuff. So every playthrough will be different. So a lot of people do look at that as a big pro, like the game constantly is different every time you play it. Same core game, it's just, a different way of playing it each time you play, as the paths are different, all that stuff, right? I mean, pretty self-explanatory, but I think one of the biggest issues people who don't really enjoy this type of game is gonna have a concern with is having to start over. Like, it's one life, man. Finish the game. That's how it goes, type of thing. And you just got to be prepared. Have your expectations in check. But overall, the game was really enjoyable. It's astonishing to think that when I looked up this game a while back and I started reading about it, that it was developed by just one person, a guy by the name of Matt Bittner. That's crazy that just one person. I know indie developers, like, sometimes it'll be a lone sole, programmer, developer, that kind of thing. And sometimes it'll be, a small team to a medium-sized team type of thing. But I'm always blown away when I find out, hey, it was just one person behind this type of thing. And that's amazing. I mean, because this game is really complete. And it's one of those types of games with the style that it is, with everything being randomized, but it being heavily inspired by Metroid. It's a lot of exploration. That's what you're doing in this game, is exploring, looking for items, being able to progress. You'll find where, oh, I can't get through this area. How do I get through, like, a narrow passage? Do I got, like, a morph ball? Can I roll under there? Like, that kind of thing. Oh, how do I get through these doors that have, like, meat hanging off of them? What the hell's going on here, right? And it's all to do with finding the right items and abilities. Like, you could slide underneath narrow paths, but you have to find that ability to unlock it first. To get through those doors that have, like, meat or whatever pulsating on them, you got to get a weapon that is upgraded from your base weapon. Initially, you might find, I mean, it's random, so it's not going to be the same every playthrough. You might find like a buzzsaw style weapon that cuts through those doors. You might get an upgrade to your base weapon that makes it explode upon impact. That'll open those doors. So it's a lot of little exploring, finding the right things that you need to progress. You may get lost at times. You'd be like, where am I supposed to go? Press the minus button, select button, whatever you want to call it, bring up your map, and just study it. Look for where you haven't been or what doors have not been gone through yet, that kind of thing. And it's fun. I mean, it's a good game. The bosses and different enemies are freaking nuts. I think the game, the way it's designed, because initially when I first started playing it, I didn't know exactly what to expect, and I died probably on like the second screen. I was like, damn it, and then the game starts all over, and it's a different layout of the map. Sometimes the maps might be kind of similar to a previous map, but there's always changes to them, that kind of thing. But once I got past that initial frustration and just started playing it and killing enemies, getting damaged to where it was like, oh crap, I got to be really careful. I don't want to start all over again. The game is fairly liberal with the health regenerating items. You'll find them like 50% of the time, I think, when you're killing enemies. At least that's the way it seemed to me. So I was always able to regenerate my health and do all right. The music is bumping, pretty cool stuff. The graphics look really good. The one thing I do want to point out when I played this game is I used the Pro controller, and while you can use the shoulder buttons to angle your weapon upward or downward, I tend to like to use the actual controller instead of doing that, because sometimes you do need to crouch and shoot straight. Sometimes you need to shoot up at an angle, that kind of thing. But I found using the analog stick, I didn't have as precise control over my weapon. Like, it just felt wonky at times. Like, I wouldn't be aiming how I wanted to. So I switched to just using the D-pad. And when I switched to using the D-pad, it was fine. Like, I was able to play the game the way I had hoped. It was just, I think the analog stick just doesn't work for me. So that's just kind of a minor thing. The gameplay's fine. It's a great one. It's just crazy with how frustrating it can be. You got these meat beasts after you, and you just got to destroy them, some crazy monsters and whatnot. But just, understand what you're getting yourself into. It's not just a Metroid style game. It's a roguelike as well. Looking for items and exploring to progress further, and that's what this is all about. If you're interested, I'll put a link down below. Retrofighters.com and Castlemania are both selling this game. Take a look. Really do appreciate every single one of y'all. With that said, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye!